Welcome to In Real Time, where we as Heights Church are inviting you in for real conversations about leading people, organizations, and change in the new normal. We're hoping that our real discussions about our church's journey will help you as you reimagine and rebuild yours.
Hello, friends. Welcome to In Real Time. My name is Ryan. I am one of the pastors here at Heights Church, and I would like you, before we go any further on this video, to hit the like button, subscribe, and the bell notification, because we don't want you to miss an episode. And as you know, it is in real time, but in the meantime, and if you're not watching this on video, you won't see this, but we have in the meantime, we have a cutout of a piece of paper. Our production guy, he did a great job. I thought it was
It's
great.
high quality.
It's very high quality.
Is what it is.
Yes,
it's high quality.
So for those who are just listening to the podcast, you are missing out on our new signage. It is great. But as you know, I'm not Craig, but I'm filling in for him today. And I am joined by two wonderful co-hosts. Why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves?
I am Jen. I'm one of our associate pastors here at Heights Church, working in administration and our restoration ministries.
Yep.
And my name is Justin, and if you've watched any of these episodes, I do life groups and young adults and a bunch of other stuff too.
Any
of the podcasts?
Any of the podcasts?
Well, several of the podcasts. How about that?
Yeah. You're in a handful of them.
I'm in a couple.
Yeah.
A few.
But we're doing a special series while Craig is gone. If you don't know why, I encourage you to listen to the last episode, because we talk about the whole reason behind that. But we'll go into quick details of what transpired to that decision from him and our team.
That makes it sound so dark and shady.
I know. We're not.
What transpired for him to be not here in the building?
You know, here's the thing
it's
that people
called sabbatical.
Exactly.
Brian, call it what it is, bro.
We have a church term for it. You know what's funny though is that you don't feel the pressure of these podcasts till you sit in these seats.
You're not wrong.
In this seat, I should say.
You got this, man.
You're not wrong.
You got this.
You're not wrong.
So with that being said, last episode we asked the question, what would Craig do? Because he's gone for the next
WWCD
5 weeks, right? On his sabbatical.
There it is.
Right.
Yes.
There you go. Yes.
Yeah.
My vocabulary grew.
People that way they're not wondering, why is he gone?
He's not.
Is
he's
he
not
in
gone.
trouble? Not the case at all.
No, not the case.
We love him. He's resting.
That is correct. And we hope you are resting well, Craig. But today we're going to be talking about what would the staff want to say to their lead pastor, right?
Yeah.
And I just want to give a preface. We're going to keep this positive. We don't want to make this a
it's not pinata pastor time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because we know the purpose of this episode is to encourage any of you senior leads out there that are listening in. We know it has not been an easy last 3 years for all of you.
Yeah.
We know you hear it all. We know you experience it all. But today we were just wanting to share just kind of our process of what we said to Craig before he took off, basically, right? If Jen, why don't you give us a little rundown of what happened?
Well, I know it was always kind of on his mind. He's very good about just being self-aware and wants all of us to be healthy. But
yeah,
I mean, I think it was simultaneous with when you on management team did his staff evaluation.
There it is.
Mm-hmm.
And almost all of you said, take some time off, Craig.
Yep.
We want you
so funny.
healthy. We want you in this for the long term. We
Yeah.
recognize the need for that.
Yeah.
And he was also hearing that simultaneously himself, and so just made the very wise decision that now was a good time to do it, which we've discussed in previous podcasts, being intentional about the timing of sabbaticals.
Yep.
And so, he's been gone. And right now, the day we're taping here, he's got about 2 weeks left.
Right. So he's in the middle of it as we speak.
Well, and it wasn't just so after the evaluation, what happens? You have the denominational covenant and giving this lecture on the need for senior leads to take time off. And so it clearly was just a perfect storm of time and opportunity for God just to speak to him and say, look, it's time to shut it down, take some rest, go do what you need to do to heal your heart, be, healthy and grow. And then, the beauty we talked about this last episode is he's enabled us so well to handle all the business. And so, I know that my heart in this episode is just to tell him just how much we love him.
Yeah.
But really just, there were we actually interviewed our staff as well. and said, if you could say anything to your senior lead in a positive light, what would you want him to know?
Right.
And so,
that leads us to our first point, which is what, Justin?
Well, it's this, is it trust us enough to be yourself. So as a person on your staff, we will accept your flaws. We know that you're human. I know that sometimes there are senior leads that feel the need to be, perfect, or put this persona on that I live in perfection and I walk with Jesus, and I almost said my poop smells like roses, but that's not what I mean.
Yeah, I think you just did.
I don't mean it like that. I mean, like, you don't need to put the persona on. Just be yourself. God made you like you to lead like you, not to lead like somebody else. So be you. Yeah. We'll honor that. We'll love you in the midst of that. And we'll just encourage that, because we're going to accept you just as you are. So
yeah. And you're human. Everybody's human.
Exactly.
We have our limits, so we get that. We don't have you on this pedestal where it's like, oh wow, nothing ever goes wrong in your life. You don't ever have any struggles. So I think it's good just to take that posture of humility and vulnerability. And I can't remember who says it all the time, but there's this emphasis on just be real. Yeah. That's what speaks so loudly. Yeah. When people see that side of you, it lets them know that I can support you in a different kind of way, rather than just organizationally. I can be there for you in prayer. I can look for ways to shore you up and have conversations that are helpful to you. Yeah. Emotionally, mentally, spiritually, all that stuff. So,
No, absolutely. And you know what's interesting about this is that Craig wasn't in like a time of crisis.
No, not at all.
He wasn't even. If you listen to one of the episodes, I believe it's episode 37. We had two of our district heads here. They talk greatly about just pastoral health and burnout. If you haven't watched it, you need to check it out. It is an amazing episode. I highly recommend it, because I want to encourage any senior leads out there. If you need to know where you're at. Like we were just saying, you need to be honest. You need to be vulnerable with where you're at. Yeah. Our senior lead, he wasn't in a place where he needed this. But what's interesting is that there were these little signs along the way. We would rather be proactive than reactive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah, that's a great way to say it too, Ryan. Proactive over reactive.
Yeah.
I think, one of the other ththings that's so important for me to say to a senior lead is, hey, look, because I know you may have heard that, admit your mistakes, live in humility and vulnerability, right? And you're like, yeah, but you don't know my staff, right? So, okay, have some close advisors. Like, man,
I like this. Yes,
have some brothers around you at the same level that you can be that kind of vulnerable and honest with, because those people in your life need to be there, even as a senior lead. Like, I have brothers that I can be. I always say it this way: they know where all the bodies are buried. Not that I've killed anybody, but you know what I mean? Like, they know my story.
Oh goodness.
They know my history. Yeah. They know my struggle. They know my journey. Yeah. They've walked with me through these seasons of life. And because of that, I can trust them. And I can trust them to just be like, man, this stuff is hard. This is challenging. Yeah. And gosh, that doing life without that I just honestly think even serving as a pastor, and I'm not in the senior lead role, without that in my life, I would not do this as healthy or as stable or as, with that thing. So, hey, don't live on an island is the statement. Senior leads, get those group of guys around you somewhere outside of that circle. If you feel like, okay, well, they're not safe or whatever in that world, but find the ones who are and get that relationship.
Absolutely. No, I love that you brought that up, because a lot of, again, not just senior pastors, but a lot of pastors in general, the amount of times that they've reported feeling lonely or they are afraid of confessing something or getting help for something, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, again, we want to keep this episode positive. We're not trying to bash anybody or draw light to a certain situation. But if you've been paying attention to any of the church news recently, I mean, it's sad. It's sad when the senior pastor has not done the work to be self-aware, to be vulnerable, to be honest,
to have
accountability, because you can't do it by yourself.
Right.
No,
you can't.
Nobody
you might
can.
think, look, I used to believe this. I used to think, I I don't need this level of accountability. But when I look back on, the last few years of ministry and I didn't have that, that isn't, I don't want to be that person again.
Oh, no doubt.
Right.
I'm just being
No
real here.
doubt.
But we just want to again just say to our senior leads, to our pastors out there that are listening and tuning in, don't be afraid to get help.
Yeah.
Because Craig, he does such a good job of that.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that I really appreciate about him is that he really does bring us in.
Yeah.
I remember when it came down to the finances, of our church, these last few years. I mean, his level of vulnerability. I mean, a lot of pastors would never share that information.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of pastors haven't.
And a lot of pastors haven't.
So
You're
there's
right.
like this mystery in the church of like, well, what's going on? Where are we at?
Yeah.
I think we've had the conversation with Pastor Craig where he was surprised at an event that he went to with other senior leads where they weren't sharing with their people what the reality of the church was. And gosh, man, be honest about this stuff because I think the people can handle it. And that's, at least for me, is like, let us share the load with you.
Which is what, I think we need to unravel that a little bit. Yeah.
Right? Like, and it's not just the workload, it's our giving's down. Right?
Or just the burdens of ministry.
And I know that he said this to me in the past. He's like, I just wanted to shelter you guys from that because I didn't want you to worry. And it's not about worry because we live by faith. It's about, I want to be able to pray with you.
Yeah.
I want to pray for you because this is your burden that you're carrying that I don't carry in the same way.
Yeah.
Right.
Even though you're worried about this, believe me, my worry is not your worry. Like it is not rise to the level of, am I going to have to fire somebody?
Yeah.
Like I don't carry that. I don't know about you, Pastor Jen, but I mean, the sharing the load piece is, how would you address that? Like, what would you unpack about that? Because you've got thoughts.
Well, I just think that it's in the heart of your staff. I would say that to the lead pastors. Your staff want to relieve anything they can from your shoulders. And they get to a certain degree how hard the lead role is. They're not ever going to fully be able to understand it, but there's a certain sense that, this is a lot for the lead role. Yeah. And if there's anything I can do to offload that for you, that's my heart. Yeah. So I think as you are able to recognize, you know what, I can trust these people to step in. It's part of keeping me healthy. It is too much for any one person. Yeah. That's really what's been on my mind lately. I think in this day and age, in this culture we live in, especially in, I think a church at our size, maybe down to 600, I feel like to have just one person carrying all that is actually unrealistic in this time and in this culture we live in. It might have used to have worked, but I feel like now there's just a lot of extra things that lead pastors are having to navigate well.
Yeah, it's true.
And it's very difficult. So I think just recognizing it's the new norm, maybe I would challenge people to think about and just recognize you got some safe people on your team that you have specifically hired. So step into trusting them, letting them share the load. And we actually heard from one of our admins. We opened this question up to them, and she even got super practical. And she said, just if there's something you need to offload to me, no matter what it is, don't assume that I don't want to take it or I don't have capacity or bandwidth to take it.
Yeah.
I want you to just come and ask me.
I literally feel the sting of that one because she's literally said that to me, to my face.
We won't mention any names. This person is wonderful.
No,
we
she's
love
an
her.
absolute rock star.
She's a lifesaver.
Absolute rock star.
But I think it's a good thing for leads or at any level.
Yeah. Oh,
to
no.
recognize.
How many times do we for no reason at all, do we just take these additional things upon ourselves when we could easily, what does Craig always say? Empower 20.
Yeah.
Remember we talked about
put 20 in the ministry.
Yeah, exactly. Don't do the work of 20, empower 20.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
And I feel like that's so hard for people to grasp sometimes, but
I think Ryan, it falls into this category of believing the lie that if I don't do it myself, it won't be done right.
Yeah.
And it may not be done the way you wanted it to be done, but it's still done.
That hurts for me as a 1 on the Enneagram to hear.
I'm sorry. I just wanted you to know. I mean, like that's part of releasing is releasing the need to have it my way completely, because there may be different fingerprints of the other person that you've just released it to. So they're going to add their flavor to, and you've got to be okay with their flavor. And as long as the goal is met, and people are, it's not sin, it's not unethical, it's not wrong.
Right. Anything short of sin.
Right.
Yep.
Great. Yep. Lean in.
Yeah.
You know, here's the thing. Sometimes we have these sacred cows that we go, we can't stop doing this because we have to do this. Look, why? I mean, sometimes these cows need to die. Like, it's okay to move on beyond things, you know, but be smart, use the process, build the process.
You know, you bring something up that's really interesting though. Because, you know, we're talking about all these nice things, right? But there might be someone listening out right now that says, I don't have a staff like that.
That's true.
I don't have the staff that really actually, that actually maybe cares for me, or maybe there's been some division.
Right.
But I think, how I would approach it would probably be like, okay, look at the culture. We're talking about culture of things right now.
Yeah.
And again, Craig has done such a great job. Even I would say post-COVID, because this is when that's when I joined the team. Yeah. I mean, I couldn't imagine carrying a mantle like that to keep culture intact, to keep the heart of what we're about intact.
Yeah.
That's really hard to do. And so, a pastor that might be asking the question, well, how do I get to that point? I would say start with culture.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a good place to start. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think one of the things in the midst of that is pour into your people. I mean, that's one of the things that Craig just does so well is he gets to know us. Yeah. He builds these friendships, these relationships, so where he knows who we are, he knows what we're capable of. He helps us stretch beyond what we think we can do, right? Yeah. And then he really pours into us the heart of God. He continues to develop us as leaders. I mean, we do something called 8 practices with him.
Oh, which he wrote, by the way.
Right. But it's one of those things that, hey, these are leadership principles that I value, and I want you to learn them. And that's where the put 20 into ministry came from, was out of these things. And so my encouragement to you, if you're a senior lead out there and you're asking this question, where do I start? Because you're going, man, I don't have that staff, is really just start investing in them. Because it may not be that you don't have the staff. It may be that you haven't built the bridge with the staff yet. Because I think there are people out there that really want to do a good job and they really want to serve Jesus really well. Yeah. But there may just be some things that you need to set aside and say, okay, I need to stop holding on to this, and I need to trust them with it. And just see what happens. You and if it fails, you fail fast and you pick it up and you move on. Right. I mean, that's one of the life lessons that Craig has taught us in this process is fail fast. In fact, we celebrate failures because
if you're not failing, you're not trying.
You're not trying.
Yes.
Exactly. No. And especially coming out of the COVID season, like we had to try a whole bunch of stuff that was like, yeah, that didn't work. Let's try this again. Right. And so there's a lot of that. Yeah.
And Jen, I would say you do a good job of this too, like just empowering people. I see it all the time.
I love it.
Yeah, no.
And it's like rewarding to give other people the opportunity to shine and spread their wings, and it offloads my plate too, but sometimes it doesn't. But it's just good to be intentional about it. Yeah. I was going to add too, like for the lead pastor who's just wondering, how do I build trust with my team? It's not complicated. Like that, the answer to that question is so simple, and Craig does this so well. Yeah. If you want to build trust with your team, your staff team, follow Jesus well. That's really what we want to see.
Boom. That's it. That's it. That's the end of the podcast. I don't think we can go any further with that. Yeah. I mean, that's beautifully said. I like that.
I think in us, anyone who is following the Lord and in ministry, your heart ultimately is to serve the Lord. Yeah. And so you want to be following a lead who is serving the Lord. Yes. Who is not showboating themselves, not getting sidetracked on a personal mission. They're just coming back over and over to what's Jesus want here? Right. What's Jesus want in my own life? What does Jesus want for this church? Yeah. And if I see that in my lead, which we do here with Craig, thankfully. I don't have some of the war stories that you guys have.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it's just really, I can trust this guy because
Yeah.
I know he's keeping God first.
Yeah.
And he's keeping the mission of God first.
Absolutely. There's something different about leaders when in the church where they have, I feel like any leader to a degree can have vision, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's something that sets apart a leader that has a vision from God.
Yeah.
Right. Because
Yes.
it's not,
Yep.
I feel like we came out of an era of church where everyone's trying to copy everybody.
Yeah.
That was the vision, right? It was like
Yeah.
it being the image.
We got to be
church.
like this church.
see
Do
that.
all
Yeah,
these
no,
things
no,
like
no, no,
them.
no. You said it well there, Jen. I think a leader that can humble himself before the Lord, that can go to his knees in prayer, and get a vision from the Lord. I think that there's nothing better. I can't.
No, there isn't.
I can't think of another a way to go about it. We're in ministry. I mean, where else do we get our vision? Where else do we get that humility? Where else do we get that desire to pour into people? Where else do we get that desire to instill culture if it's not from the Lord?
Yeah.
Amen.
Where else do
You
you
know?
get the refreshing?
Yeah.
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 it's a
You know,
good
it actually
point.
leads. Sorry, I'm so sorry. You were saying something.
Nope.
I apologize.
I was just saying that was a good point.
I find this principle to be true. Good leaders are good followers.
Woo. Okay, you might have. Okay, now we're done.
Seriously though, because think about it for just a moment. You know, Pastor Craig follows Jesus. His job is to lead us. My job is to follow Craig while following Jesus.
Tell me more about that.
So there's this idea that there's a submission of authority, right? As I submit to Jesus, I have allowed Pastor Craig to be my pastor. He's my senior lead. So he follows Jesus. And as he's following Jesus well, he becomes trustworthy in a way that I can submit to that authority. I can trust that his leadership is going to lead me in the vision that God has given me.
But what if you don't agree with him? Let's say something comes up and you don't agree with
It's
him.
a fair question because what does it mean to follow? And here's a qualifier. If it's not outright sin, meaning it's not immoral, unethical, or illegal, right, or just sin, I'm in. Okay. Even if I disagree with you, and this is where I believe this deeply, I have disagreed with Craig on issues, but you'll never hear me say it publicly. I'll never disagree with him publicly. I'll disagree with him behind closed doors. Hey, I'm not sure I agree with you on that. Yeah. Or our famous disagreement is always about stupid questions.
Oh, this is great.
Because he's like, hey, when we're brainstorming, there's no such thing as a stupid idea. And he's right. He's right. In that frame, it's about expanding the ideas. Yeah. But I'm like, no, that statement, there's no such thing as a dumb question. It's not true. I mean, we disagree with that one all the time. And yes, I am disagreeing with him publicly. But I was like, yeah, I think you are now. Yeah, you're totally breaking that rule. But here, let me be real for a minute. Like if it's a policy or a procedure issue, or it's a ministry issue, or it's a thing that he wants to do in ministry, my job is to follow him. That's my job. That is. My job is to support the vision and the mission that God has put in his heart because he's following Jesus well. Right. And so if you're following Jesus, I'll trust that. I'll follow you. Even when I disagree with you, I will still choose to follow you because that's what it means to be a good follower, but it's what it means to be a good leader. It's okay to have disagreements with your staff. Absolutely. As long as it's not like the core of Christianity, right? I mean, again, immoral, unethical. Yeah, Jesus wasn't really that's a big deal. Like we need to have a different conversation about those things, but I'm talking about the little stuff. Yeah. But those are the little things that always bring the biggest nonsense with it, right? It's true. I mean, like, oh, we're moving the time 15 minutes. Oh no. Like I'm not saying we're doing any of that, but it's funny how those little things become problematic. And so being a vision carrier means that I follow him. Right. Well.
But like you said, it's because he's done the part to not to seek the Lord, which we see clearly is what enables us to trust him. Right. Yeah. And so that's how, I've told him this, like, I said, I'll speak for millennials right now, and I'm looking at the camera, you guys that are listening that are millennials, I'm just saying this in love. Positive. We're keeping it positive. I'm trying to keep it as positive, but we have lost that sense of submission to authority. Yeah. That importance of that. Craig didn't call me to come to the church and not only lead a ministry, but then also showboat or, take the lead on what we do culturally. That's not my role. Yeah. My role, like you said, is to submit to his authority because God has placed him in that position of authority, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I'm always troubled by the fact that, you know, a lot of people that are young in ministry, you know, they're like, when is it my time? First of all,
It's always Jesus.
it's always Jesus' time.
Word.
And I want to encourage you, senior leads out there, there are young people that want to serve the Lord with their whole hearts, their whole mind, all their minds, and they want to serve you. They want to be your support. And sometimes just asking, like you said, you know, if you can't ask or pour into people, then start there.
Yeah.
You know, we're kind of going all over the place with this, but I think, is there anything else you guys wanted to?
Well, I think Ryan, I'm gonna shift your thought in that you're saying millennials. I actually think it's just people. There's something in our culture and in our world that says, you know what, I don't need to follow you.
Yeah.
I don't need to submit to authority. I'm gonna do it my own way. You know, and it happens through all age ranges, generations. It's just, I think it comes down to what's going on in the heart of the person.
Yeah.
And so learning how to follow while it's really hard, and this is probably leaning into the next podcast, but we need a leader who's going to be trustworthy.
Yeah.
So that we can follow. And then, you know, for those of you who are on staff, choose to do it. That's my 2 cents on that piece.
And if you can't choose to do it,
find another place where you can.
That's true.
I mean, I don't want to be that blunt about it, but
There you have it.
You'll be doing your senior lead a favor.
right. Yeah,
It's true.
Yeah.
you're not wrong.
No, but Jen, did you want to add anything? Were there any lasting thoughts for you?
I don't got any lasting thoughts. I think I said what I was gonna say.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I appreciate you guys joining me, and man, this was quite the experience sitting in your chair, Craig. But thank you for joining us today, guys. We hope you enjoyed this episode of this podcast in real time. In the meantime, remember to hit the like, subscribe, and the bell notification so you don't miss an episode every week on Monday when it drops. And we'll see you again next time.